Hey guys, Yips here coming out with another video, and today I want to take some time to talk about the Hidden Opportunity Shadow Dance build for Outlaw Rogues. This build revolves around the Audacity talent, giving our half-cost pistol shots a chance to give us an ambush use outside of stealth. This is the entire core gameplay of the build. We're really proc-based. We're focused on using pistol shot to proc ambushes, and ambushes to proc pistol shots. It's a little bit of a loop where it's a feedback between using ambush to using pistol shot to using ambush to using pistol shot. Obviously, the proc chances aren't 100%. So what we do to fill in the gaps is use our cooldowns like Vanish and use our cooldowns like Shadow Dance. For the first bit of this video, I'm just going to talk about the basics of the build, and then later on I'm going to talk about some advanced things that you can do if you're looking out to squeeze a little bit more damage in specific scenarios. I'm not going to talk about Roll the Bones in this build. I will leave a description in the comment below on how to play with Roll the Bones in this build, but after this video goes out, I'm going to make a separate video on how to use Roll the Bones entirely, just because it will take a long time and I feel like not everyone needs to hear it, and I just want to focus on how to play the build in this one. So, in this build, what we're going to be doing every time that we open is we want to get our maintenance buffs up. Very typical Outlaw Rogue stuff. You want to be getting Slice and Dice up, and you want to be getting a 5+ combo point BTE on the target. Whenever we're using Dispatch, we want to make sure we're using at 7 combo points, or 6 if we have the broadside buff active. So when we open on single target or AoE, we're always going to want to use AR, into Roll the Bones, into Ambush. We always want to open with an Ambush from Stealth. It gives us Find Weakness. Find Weakness is a huge debuff that we put on our enemy that allows us to do a lot more DPS. So a typical opener will look like AR, Roll the Bones, Ambush. Here I got a grand melee buff, but just for the sake of it, I'm going to Slice and Dice, build up to 5+ combo points, and then use a BTE. Now I have a Slice and Dice rolling, I have BTE on the target, and I'm ready to go into the standard damage opener. When you're opening as this build, you need to be ready to use your cooldowns, Vanish and Dance, very quickly if you're not proccing. What I mean by that is if you open and you use your ambush and you press Slice and you don't have a pistol shot follow-up, you're going to want to be using Vanish to ambush again. And that's how you're going to get your BTE on the target. So again, if I open, here I did get my pistol shot, so I would be pistol shotting into BTE, but if I didn't, I would have wanted to use Vanish to press an ambush, and then I would have BTE'd. That's why this build is so proc-based. If you get a proc, you're going to do one thing, and if you don't, you need to be ready to use either Vanish or Shadow Dance. So let's see if I can replicate an opener where I don't get a proc here. I did get a proc. Let's pretend we didn't. Okay, so here would be an opener where I didn't get a proc if I opened like this. Here I would want to Vanish into an ambush, and then use BTE. And then you go about the rotation like normal. Okay, and I'll talk about what that normal rotation is. So again, when you open, every single time it's going to be Roll the Bones, Ambush, Slice if you have it or don't have it active. If you have it active, you're going to be wanting to spend a 5+ combo point between the eyes. Okay, and once you're in your base rotation, once you have those maintenance buffs up, you're going to be trying to rotate between pistol shot, finisher, ambush, finisher, pistol shot, finisher, ambush, finisher. And it's going to look a little bit something like this. So I'm going to wait for my Adrenaline Rush to come up, and then we're going to open. And if I don't get a proc in the opener, I'm looking to press my Shadow Dance to press my ambushes. So I will roll, I will open, I will BTE, I don't get a proc, I will dance, spend my finishers, just using ambush to generate during my dance, and then out of it I have a lot of pistol shot procs built up because I pressed so many ambushes during my Shadow Dance, and you saw there as soon as I didn't get a proc, I used my Vanish. If you don't have any procs active, all you can do is press Sinister Strike until you get them. Okay. So that's the general gameplay loop of the build. You're going to be going between using things like Audacity, like I did there, to a finisher, to a pistol shot, finisher, Audacity, finisher, pistol shot, finisher, Audacity proc. I'll build up combo points to be a little bit higher, finisher, pistol shot proc, finisher, Audacity, finisher, pistol shot, finisher. And this is how the build works. And you see that it's very proc-based and very feedback loop-based. And you see that I'm in that feedback loop. Now, the second that I'm not, the second that I run out of procs here, I need to be ready to use Vanish. And I have Vanish available. I didn't get a proc, Vanish. The global. I didn't get another proc, Dance. And that's where the difficulty comes in. A lot of the time you'll be feeling very cozy getting these procs, but as soon as you don't, you need to be ready to hit those globals. Okay? So that's the basics of the build. Now I'm going to talk a little bit about the medium advanced stuff and then the more advanced stuff after. Okay. So when you're playing this build, a lot of the times you'll be on low combo points after you hit your finisher after your pistol shots, and you'll get an Audacity proc. So what I mean by that is you'll be fighting, you'll use your pistol shot, and then you'll be at low combo points with an Audacity proc up. You will use your ambush, and it will put you at 5 combo points. You want to press a Sinister Strike after that to go higher, and then finish. Okay? So let's see if I can replicate what that will look like here. So here, I'll press my pistol shot, I'll get an Audacity, I'll use it, I'm at lower combo points, so I'll use a Sinister Strike to build up a little bit higher before I finish again. Even if I have a pistol shot proc. You don't want to use these unless you're at 3 or lower combo points. So sometimes after you use your ambushes, you're going to be filling with a pistol shot. Or sorry, with a Sinister Strike. Do not fill with Sinister Strike during Shadow Dance. I'll only use ambush during Shadow Dance, okay? Another thing that I want to talk about this build is make sure that you set up your dances properly. Don't just send them on AoE willy-nilly. Even on single target, don't just send them willy-nilly. Like I said, you have to be ready to use them when you don't get a proc. However, if your next global is going to be Roll the Bones because you're losing your buff after, or an AoE you're going to be using Blade Flurry, or you don't have any energy, you don't want to Shadow Dance. You want to make sure you have resources going into it so you don't have to refresh them during your dance window. So whenever I'm going into my dance and I'm fighting, let me farm my Roll the Bones buff back up. So I have my Roll the Bones back up. If I need to so here right now would be a really bad time to Shadow Dance because I would have just had to refresh Blade Flurry and I had a bad buff and my Roll the Bones was active. I would have want to Roll the Bones, get my Blade Flurry back, and then I would press Shadow Dance. Because you don't want to be using those dead globals in your Shadow Dance, you want to be using every single global possible on ambush into finishers, okay? Another thing is on the very last global of your Shadow Dance, if you're at full combo points, it can be more damage in the moment to use a ambush over a dispatch. However, it is extremely energy inefficient and also cooldown inefficient because you don't get the CDR back from the wasted combo points. So it's not really recommended in most scenarios, but if you're looking to eco a little bit more damage on some small mobs before they die, ambush is a lot of DPS. So that's pretty much the build, that's the gameplay. You're really just looking to go back and forth between those ambush and pistol shot builds. It will take a little bit of time to get used to because it's not like the traditional Outlaw Rogue build where you're dealing with a lot of buffs, you're trying to think ahead with your cooldowns. You're really just focused on using your ambush and using your dance when you don't get these procs, and then proper spending of the procs as you get them. So I'll do one more AoE open here before I end the video, and just to quickly touch on Blade Rush, you can just press it when you're below 70 energy, it's fine. If you're getting a lot of procs or you have good rolls, usually you won't have to. This build does have some downtime. Eventually you will get in a situation where you're not proccing and you're out of energy and it will feel bad, but most of the time the consistency of this build will be very high. So again, typically the way that you're going to open on a pack in Mythic Plus is you're always going to open with Ambush, Blade Flurry, BTE, and then you're looking to go into a loop. As soon as you don't proc, you're looking to press one of your 2 cooldowns. So right now I'm proccing, which is great. And this will happen a lot where you do just get back to back to back to back procs. Like so. And as soon as I don't get one, vanish. Didn't get one, dance. And that was an example of a not great Shadow Dance because my buffs were falling off at the end of it. And now I'm out of procs and I'm just building with my Sinister Strike until I get some. Now I have a proc, I'm ready to use it. So the gameplay, once you get fluid at it, is quite simple. And ignore what I'm doing with my loaded dice here and my rolls. I'm not following proper rolls, so don't try to read into it. I'm going to make a separate video on that. But again, just going through the motions in terms of what I'm doing here. Every time you don't get a proc, be ready to spend it. Ready to spend it. Spend those vanishes and spend those Shadow Dances. So my next cooldown that will come back up will be Shadow Dance in 14 seconds if I don't get a proc. It's worth noting that Skull and Crossbones is an extremely good buff for this build because it leads to a lot more pistol shot procs from the additional ambushes and Sinister Strikes that you'll be hitting. Didn't get a proc, go into dance. And that's the build. So pretty easy. It does take a little bit of time to play around with the procs a little bit. It'll take some time to break the habit of using Vanish for dispatch, things like that, but once you get it down, it's really not too difficult, and it sort of plays itself. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this video. Hopefully it was good. There's one last little thing I want to touch on. If you're opening on a pack and the pack is going to die very quickly, it can be worth just to send your cooldowns, even if you are proccing. It can be worth to just send Shadow Dance and Vanish, even if long-term it's inefficient. In the moment, it can give you more damage on things like AoE. Or if there's like a boss burn or something like that, you might just want to press the cooldowns anyways. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hopefully this helped you guys learn out, and I will make a Roll the Bones guide just after this one to help you guys on how to manage that. So thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys later.